All right, so hey everybody, welcome back to History Surfer. I'm in Key West, and today I'm going to talk about the Bahamians who came to this place and made this town what it is today. The Bahamian influence here was particularly strong because the Bahamian presence in Key West had made it almost a secondary home for many of the Bahamians, from especially Green Turtle. In fact, Green Turtle in Abaco is considered the sister city of Key West. We're walking on Simonton Street. It's just the next street over from Duval. A little more quiet. Duval is crazy. This weekend in particular, it seems to have quite more people than I expected, but let's talk about what happened. As Florida became a territory, the U.S. gave Bahamians a choice. They could either move here and become Americans or stop wrecking here. And many of them chose to move here because the wrecking was so lucrative. There you go. Wrecking was a legal business. Trying to cross the street. And people who were employed in wrecking made tons of money. It made William Curry the first millionaire in Florida. It was one of the things that made him the first millionaire in Florida. It wasn't illegal. Unlike a lot of people who believe that the wreckers lured wrecks onto the reefs, it's not true. There was wrecks because the reefs here were so treacherous. And many of them were uncharted. There were no lights, in other words, lighthouses. And so quite often, captains misjudged reef locations and would hit a reef and founder. The companies that own the ships, the underwriters, especially from the insurance companies, trying to let the truck go by, were happy for the wreckers because they salvaged the ship's property. Then the property, as it was offloaded, the ship would be taken to the customs house, stored there, and then adjudicated by maritime law and shared out between the owner, and the wrecker would take his fee. The lead wrecker would get the majority of that money. All right. When I say lead wrecker, because there was always, on a big wreck, lead wreckers and consort wreckers. There'd be the person who got there first got the wreck, and then he'd hire other people to help him salvage the wreck, depending on the size of the wreck. The Bahamians were super active in this, and we're going to go towards. Now I'm standing in front of the John Lowe Jr. house here in Key West. Lowe was one of the big wreckers here, and you can see up at the top, if you look up there, he has a true, what in architecture they call is a widow's walk, but in reality, because John Lowe started out as a wrecker, it would have been a spot to spot wrecks. Wrecking was a big industry here, and there was a lot of competition among the wreckers, and so wreckers watched for wrecks because you could see the reef. And the first one to get there was actually the person who got dibs on the wreck. You can see it's a beautiful classical revival, Bahamian interpretation. The center doorway, it's a gorgeous house, very big. You can see he was very successful. He's one of the early conchs to come from the Bahamas. He comes from Green Turtle Key in Abaco, and he is first employed by the Wall Company and the Curry, and then he goes out on his own. Eventually not wrecking anymore, but still building boats. His most famous boat is the Magic which won the America's Cup in 1870. It's a big piece of property right on Southern Street. You can't miss it. Next door to the Lowe house, the John Lowe Jr. house, is the Benjamin Curry house. Curry too, I'll come in, you can see my face. Hello everybody. Was also from the Bahamas. He was actually the brother of William Curry, the first millionaire of Florida anyway. And you can tell by his house that he too is doing quite well. Typically, again, we are looking at an interpretation of Georgian architecture, actually it's called, with the central doorway, the three symmetrical dormer windows. Look at the novelty shingle roof. All of these things indicative of the period. It's built about the 1850s, mid-century right then. We're standing here in front of the Curry Mansion on Caroline Street. William Curry is a famous person in Key West. He's considered the wealthiest man in Key West, due to owning the ship's chandlery business and also investing in the wrecking industry. Curry's son George, this lot had a Curry property on it, but his son built this house, this Georgian revival house, although highly decorative for Georgian actually, but it is a revival structure and they do get kind of eclectic. It's got a lot of detailing you wouldn't have seen in a regular Georgian house, but Curry's family came from Green Turtle in the Bahamas, and they're probably one of the most famous Key West families, the Currys.